gosh, okay, this is happening. Those of you who don't know me, my name's Yasmin, and welcome to my channel. The topic of this video, I decided I'm gonna focus on confidence, since it's kind of the reason why I'm making it today. I've always wanted to start my own channel, but I kind of dropped the idea a little while ago because I was doing stuff like skincare. I'm probably still gonna do that, but I realized that it's not really what I want to do. I feel like I have a lot more to say than just what my skincare routine is, but you're still gonna get that, don't worry, like I got you. Also, I feel like I hit a phase a few months ago where I wasn't actually as confident as I seemed to be. Like, it felt like my light was dimmed, and there's a lot of reasons why I was like that at the time. Not gonna get into it too much right now. I'm probably gonna talk about relationships and how they can affect you in another video, but I feel like I'm coming back to who I really am, to like the core and the essence of my being. And so I just want to share with you guys how I got to that point, as confident as I am today versus in the past, and how did I get to that point? That's a question a lot of people ask me, actually. It's like, yes, how are you so confident? I always seem to be having a good time and blah, 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 blah. The truth is, I wasn't always like that. And to get to that point, it's like years in the making. I think that everybody has like a spark or a light inside of them. You kind of tend to suppress it and unlearn it when you grow up. Like, you feel social pressures, and if you don't really fit into the mold, you try to fit into the mold. Like, that's just what most people do, and I think that's what I was doing when I was young. It got to a point though where I started to embrace myself and who I am, and I started doing things that I love, and by doing these things I started to meet people who share the same passions as me, and it's like an exchange of good energy is basically how I would describe it. I can really observe this change in myself from high school until now. I was friends with people in high school who I appreciate many of them as individuals still to this day, but you know how you're in friend groups in high school and like not everybody in friend groups gets along. So that's basically what happened. Some of those friends did not like the person I was becoming, like, quote unquote. Like, that's what was said about me behind my back. And there was a falling out with this friend group in high school, and honestly it was kind of a blessing in disguise. This was in the last year of high school. Like, everybody has their friend groups. I was kind of like okay, so what am I gonna do now? Like, there's all of these grad trips and stuff, and I have like no friends to do anything with. But that fucking built my character. I was like, okay, you know what? It's fine. I will still have fun. And I made some other friends, or I reconnected with some people that like I had lost touch with throughout high school. One of them, she's like my best friend to this day. I recognized in high school that like I went through a phase when I became friends with these people where I was very insecure. And as I evolved and grew up a little bit from that time and started to become more confident, people in that group who saw that and maybe didn't like the way I was expressing myself anymore and the way I was making new friends just decided to be like, yeah, fuck you, bitch. Like, we don't like you anymore. I don't know, that's what it seemed like. Whatever. After this though, like, obviously I wasn't in the best place. I went through like a small depression. Like, I didn't even want to admit that I was like not okay at the time. How I got out of that was in a very unhealthy way. I just wasn't self-aware enough to reflect on it and realize that it was really selfish what I was doing. But I kind of like entered into, I wouldn't even call it an actual relationship, but it kind of was. And I used that relationship almost as like a crutch. And once I got over that like hump, that like I was like down, and once I was up again, I no longer needed that crutch. And I realized, like, now that I'm okay with myself, I don't actually want this relationship. Like, it's this person, I'm not proud of this person, I don't want to be with this person. So I ended that. I mean, I was 17 at the time, but still. And for those of you who have gotten out of a relationship, are still healing, or are going through a really bad time, and you meet somebody, please don't do what I did. Don't use a relationship as a crutch to get over whatever it is that you're going through. It's not fair to the other person, and you're gonna realize that it's also not fair to you. Like, you didn't really accomplish much at the end of the day on your own. Like, you didn't really heal what the actual problem was. I learned a lot from that like phase of my life. Graduated high school, started CEGEP. I was in sciences and I wanted to fucking kill myself. I decided to switch programs. Around the same time that I decided to make that change, I also joined the dance club at my CEGEP. If you're watching, you know I love you bitches. I had taken dance classes before. I've literally like been dancing since I was like out of the womb pretty much. Like, joining this club and meeting these people, really, that's where I grew as a dancer. Like, that's where I developed my confidence. That's where I found my style. That's where I had like the freedom to self-express and have nobody judge me for how I was self-expressing. Like, really, things started to take off for me around that time, around the time that I started making changes and doing what's best for me. That's the key. I started doing things that I love. I met people who also love doing the things that I love. This is the recipe for becoming like the best version of you, becoming more you than you ever thought you could be, and owning it and becoming more confident about it. Everything seems good, right? Everybody who meets me seems to think like, oh, like you're always in such a good mood, like you're super outgoing, super extroverted. I am an extrovert, trust me. I gain energy from talking to people, from going outside, from doing things. But there's something called balance, and I was not balanced at this time. So I feel like almost to an extent, like that kind of hype personality vibe, energy that I would give off whenever I met somebody new was almost a front. It's almost like, I don't know you so well, so this is what I'm gonna do instead of just being me. That side of me, like that hype, super bubbly, energetic side of me, that is actually who I am. But I feel like I was almost like bringing it out on purpose every single time as like as a front, as a defense mechanism. I don't really know how to like label it, but I know that now it's not everybody who will get to see that side of me. Like, I'm much more selective with who I give my energy to and how I like present myself to people. If I'm tired, like, I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, new person, hey. No, like, I don't even know you, so like, I'm gonna be more chill. I've grown out of that phase too. Like, me putting on that front is also not really a sign of me being 100% totally okay with myself, because if I was, I wouldn't even feel like I needed to do that. And I didn't even realize I was doing it because it was completely subconscious. I feel like I don't have to activate that switch anymore and just be like, hey, to like everybody. Don't get me wrong though, like, if you know me, you know I'm the life of the party. But if you're an energy vampire, you're probably not gonna see that ever or appreciate it ever, so. Books I read to get over, like the one relationship that I had in CEGEP was one called The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. I'm gonna like put the title in the description down below. So this book's completely changed my life. I know that's kind of cliche to say, but honestly, if I didn't read it at this very time, I think I would have been really bitter about that breakup for a long ass time. Like, life is out of your control. It talks about the law of karma. It talks about detachment. So like, not being overly attached to an outcome doesn't mean don't work towards the outcome, but it means like, hey, if the outcome doesn't happen exactly as you pictured it in your head, that's okay. That's what's meant to happen. As long as you do things that like you can feel in your heart and in your gut, like this is what I should be doing, then you'll be fine. I think that once you start embracing yourself, you start putting out a different kind of energy that you never thought you could put out before. and people around you see that. People can tell when you are you and you don't care about the opinions of anybody else. The minute you start embracing yourself fully, and I mean like the good and the bad, like you really have to know that you're not perfect, that you are not always going to be like a good person. We have bad things about us. That's what makes you a whole being. You just have to acknowledge both sides and make the right choices. Make choices that you know will make you happy and will make others around you happy. One other thing I guess I should say is that on my social media platforms, I post a lot of videos of me dancing and like vibing, dancing in heels. Honestly, I feel like when I dance in heels, like that's me in my element. Like part of me developing my confidence was also embracing my femininity. So it's a huge part of who I am. The minute I started doing it, I was like, this is that shit right here. It comes so naturally to me. Like I'm in my zone when I do that, and I feel almost my most confident when I'm dancing than almost doing anything else, really. So on the topic of confidence, I think it's important to realize how you feel about yourself kind of dictates who you're going to attract into your life. When I'm going through bad phases, I attract people who are not that good for me in the long run. And then once I'm kind of like okay again, I look at them and I'm like, did they always used to do that? How did I not see that? You know, whatever is going on in here is going to come out, and whatever comes out is going to pull in the same energy. Like that energy level you're vibrating at, whoever matches it is going to come into your life. So if you're vibrating at a low energy, you're going to attract people who have a low energy. You probably won't recognize it at the time because you're going through your own shit. Like if they fulfill a need or you're able to relate to them because you're both maybe going through the same bad experiences, then that's what's going to happen. They're going to enter your life and you're going to maybe both feed off of that negative energy that you guys share. Hopefully this doesn't last forever and one day you wake up and realize, we were literally just friends because we maybe had both were going through a breakup, or that thing that you had in common was not a positive thing, it was negative. So it's always important to watch out for that. Thank you so much guys for listening. I hope that this helped some of you. If this is the first time you're seeing me, I hope you got to know me a little bit better. I need to stop saying I'm gonna be posting more videos of this content. If you guys have any questions, like please leave them in the comments or DM me, or I'll try to address it in another video. And yeah, so until next time, love you. Okay, bye.